update. I think he's got it.
Yeah, the Respect automatically records, but the Sapphires doesn't. Maybe I should just fix that. It's easier to turn it off because I always forget to turn it on. Okay, we are recording now. Hi, Misa. Um, and what you missed while we were not recording, Misa, is that you were just voluntold that you're going to be doing a lot of the field work. I think you know that. So the other thing that I want to put on the table is just for Aaliyah's awareness is people's funding models. So Will is primarily supported by Ellison. Sapphire's project is currently paying him 20% or 1 day a week. And so I think that was pretty good during when we were doing the Epic Home setup and takedown. For a little while, he hasn't been utilized on the project, right? Will, for like a month or so, maybe, or 2 months. I don't remember anymore.
Yeah, there was just a gap when I couldn't make it because of the CDPHE site visits.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I really only missed a setup or a takedown at the site. So I still went to every site. I might have just missed like
Oh,
the front or back end, like on a
yeah. So
couple.
it's not whether you participated or not. It's also more, does the work match the funding on the project?
Hmm.
And so I think you haven't been dedicating time. And I don't care if it is exactly 1 day a week, right? It's not like some days there were days where you had like 2 or 3 days and
Yeah,
or weeks. I know some days do feel like 3 days, but
yeah.
weeks where you have 2 or 3 days. And so this is generally how I do projects. Like, you should know what you're being paid. It should average out right over time. But if any particular week is too much or too little, then that's how things work. But currently, Will doesn't have any tasks on Sapphires. And so because of his knowledge and field experience, plus the fact that we're already paying him, I thought it would be great to have him involved in the selection process. But Aaliyah, there's probably going to be a bunch of little things that you need to move along as well. Okay, so the characteristics of the areas we want to work in. I think there are three big ones. One is that we want pollution to turn on and off. So that you just, so to speak, right? So ideally we're protecting homes against wildfires, but it is a pain in the butt to chase wildfire influence, and most people are unsuccessful at doing it. And then there's also this, like, if it's too close, you should be evacuating, right? So instead of trying to measure wildfire influence, we're going to try to measure inversions. So an inversion is when it happens when there's a layer of warm air sitting on top of cold air, and or is it the other way? Yeah, or is it warmer? Oh my God, I should know this. How can my atmospheric brain went completely blank? It's like the opposite of what it's supposed to be, right? Warm on top of cold. So the cold can't rise because it's warm. And so that often happens. So at night, the boundary layer gets a little smaller. People emit wood smoke, and then pollution tends to build up during the night, during the inversion. Then the sun comes out and does a lot of mixing, and so you can often see a pollution peak at night. So that's what we're chasing. We want it, so you typically find those in valleys. And so a valley with a lot of people who use wood smoke is kind of perfect. The second thing that we want is we would like homes that are similar to low income homes, which means we don't want a bunch of mansions. Now, when we did the Epic Homes, the people who participate in those programs tend to be on the upper income side. And so we questioned, like, are the homes we're measuring too big? And it's okay because we're still learning physical principles. But when it comes to this study, we would like smaller homes that and preferably in areas where people are at lower income, partly because we think there's some maybe reactions to technology that would be associated with those, maybe differently with those, we don't know, but we're going to be doing behavioral measures. And so we don't want to be like in some of the Epic homes, there were people who were like super into the, because like, oh, cool, I'm an engineer, right? And so we want people who are, I don't know how to say this without being offensive, but we want people who are not nerdy like us and who are like actual real people who have like lives and children, and they don't have to have children, but that like that kind of stress level that would cause them not to be as into the technology as as entertainment, right? So that's number two, that we want to be able to observe the homes of people like that. And then number three is we want good relationships with the local agency, often a health agency, or it doesn't have to be health, but that's frequently where the connection comes in. It can be a community services organization, but that nature of things, they're going to be far more trusted. They're going to be able to give us tips on the folks that are living there and what they care about. And we just don't want to work in a place where we don't have where we're helicoptering in. So those are the big three in my view. Anything to add, Will? We've talked about this before, but I think we're trying to get the planning and the searching started now.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add as far as the three things. I think we actually were fortunate enough through the CDPHE project to kind of satisfy all of those things. So I think we have plenty of options. And then to go back to what you're saying before about, at least about the travel part, we could talk about this later, but I was kind of already expecting to do a lot of that. Yes, Whitney said everything. Because Paul had also mentioned about having possible relationships, I think in Oregon. Is that
Yeah.
what it was, outside of state? Okay. So but other than,
And I think he's talking to Utah also.
okay.
So you're
Yeah.
saying you're expecting to do a bunch of that, Will? So we should sort that out, because I wasn't
Yeah,
clear. I've never planned, I know you're like working 120% for Ellison, so I've never thought that, or it's never been clear to me that you would have that kind of time.
well, I guess for right now it is kind of up in the air as far as what I'll be
Mm.
obligated to. I don't think I have guaranteed funding right now after May.
Oh,
I think
okay.
I don't know. I know that obviously she's been like submitting a lot of proposals, just kind of waiting to hear back on things. I
Okay.
guess there's one that I guess is mostly because I'm going into the field for another project on Friday. So I assume that has been funded. And I know that obviously I'm obligating some time to continue at Sapphire. So I knew that there was field work going to, like, we have to go somewhere. So it's like, well, I
Mhm.
assume that would be part of my role. So I
Okay.
figured sort out the details. And I think you and I had planned this. So just we have been off sync for the last 2 months with our travels, so we haven't really had time. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and then I know, well, we can talk about that later. I think the other proposal we're waiting to hear on actually might involve travel to the places that will be for Sapphire, so it might work out.
Mm.
Anyways, yeah. So so for the three things you were just mentioning to satisfy our possible candidates, is this, are you also factoring in like the three like handshake yeses I have in Fort Collins?
No, those are for different things.
That's for, oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't realize
So
it was for
what
something.
we're looking for yeah, okay, I'm sorry. This is the field campaign in the winter.
Oh, okay.
The,
Okay.
so the handshake yeses that we're talking about in Fort Collins are the like continuation of what we did with Epic.
Oh, okay.
We're
Perfect.
so not there yet, but yeah, you can certainly help with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're waiting to get a little further on Dom's analysis, but I think we're pretty clear. We just need to measure summer conditions.
Mhm.
So, so that's okay. With regard to like who's doing what, yeah, we gotta see how it evolves. I mean, at the time, certainly be happy to have you involved, but it wasn't a possibility to have you on offer. And then we hired Misa specifically because we knew this was coming.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I get that we got to figure that out.
Yeah.
So I will communicate with Allison and then and we'll try to keep you informed.
Yeah, I know some things on my end are just kind of up in the air right now. So I mean,
Sure.
but
That's got to be an uncomfortable feeling.
it is, but but I have faith it'll all work out.
Do you have a job or do you not have a job? Huh?
And
Well, I'm happy to support my 1 day a week for now and recognizing the uncertainty, keep talking.
yeah.
Yeah, but I do have to also support a substantial chunk of MISA. Uh,
Hmm.
but anyway, let's, it, I've been told. Okay. Um, so I think a good thing to do on this particular topic is, Will, I know you've got ideas for where. Oh, thing I did not say, we want 16 homes and it would be great if they were all in the same area because we want to see how people, we're going to be switching off like different conditions of the homes and we want to see their response to the same meteorological conditions. Now, people being people and homes being all different, it's really hard to compare in the first place, but I would like to remove that variable as much as possible. I'm guessing it'll be hard. The other reason to have them all in the same area is like if they're all over Colorado or Oregon, then there's going to be a lot of travel. I probably skinnied the budget and, I don't remember what I put in for like how many times you could go back and forth. So it'd be nice to just have somebody parked. Are you there, Will? Your video went off.
Yeah, I was on my internet seems to be crappy right now, so I'm
Of
just
course.
shutting off the video. Maybe that might help.
Okay. Okay, as long as you're there, it's fine. So yeah, I think we shoot for the ideal and then as it gets closer, if it's looking not ideal, we discuss how we're going to de-idealize it, but I don't want to start with the unideal. And so maybe the first thing to do is just start a spreadsheet of the specific location. It just like a brainstorm, as many as possible. Um,
Which I have started.
oh, did you send me a link? Is it in the Sapphires?
No, I did not. I was working on it over the weekend, and currently I can't open it because, like I said, it's like I don't know. It only stops working when I'm in meetings. But yeah, I have like a tab open right now, and it's just blank right now. But as soon as it comes back, I will
Oh.
share my screen.
Special. Okay, I got to give you access. You should be able to share if it ever comes back.
Okay, I'll share once it does pop up.
So can maybe as a prelude, you can tell me what's on it?
Yeah, sure. So, what I've been doing is um, he did touch on this, so I'll just say it again, Leah. So for the CDPHE project, we were visiting non-residential sites to do our indoor air quality measurements. But we were actually, because of how much time we kind of spent at some of the places, I felt we set up pretty good relationships with some of these sites, and sites that actually can kind of branch out, or at least allow us to kind of make connections in their local communities. Um, Places like schools, soup kitchens. We had a couple like churches. So they're obviously doing work in the community, and things like that. So um, these are places I'm like, okay, well, they could really be a bridge because I think we made good relationships with them. They can kind of help connect us to people in their community, whether it's people that they are serving or even the people who work there. So I thought it might be a good, um, like a good source, I should say. So I'm going to share my screen. Looks like it just came up. Someone just rang my doorbell as well.
It's
So
like, Will, you're under duress. It's just like, come get it,
I
man.
know, I think I know what it is, and it's going to have to wait. Um, so all right, can you see this Google Sheet right now?
Not quite yet, but we will. I have confidence.
It shows that it is sharing.
It says
I
that you
think I
started
just,
sharing.
okay, I think I know why my
There we
connection is
go.
really slow right.
Okay.
I'm doing a data refresh on a very large spreadsheet for our equipment, and I think that's what's lagging me down. Um, so I did sort these by city, and I know that we did want them to be like all the homes to be in the same location. Um,
Huh?
how close would you want that location? I ask because depending on how you want to border, you have Pagosa Springs, Durango, um, and this Bayfield are all kind of within like an hour of each other, I want to say about. So I don't know if that is too large of an area or something like that, but just something to throw out to think about. Um, and then we have our connections we made in Fort Collins. Um, I don't know how if Grand Junction geographically fits what we're looking for.
So I would say that being an hour away is part of the non-ideal,
Okay.
like, but it's a potential put that may be one of the compromises we make.
Okay. Um, So in this column B, it's really just the name of the organization. And like I said, these are just people that we could reach out to, say, hey, this is what we're doing. Another thing I'll add, Leah, is I've already talked to Tammy about this. I'm actually going to Southwest next week, and then the week after. So I'm going to be actually in that whole area for a whole week at the end of the month and into May. So that's part of the reason I think, Tammy, why we wanted to have this meeting now, because if we have a game, we can kind of talk face to face with these
Yeah.
places, say, hey, this is what we're doing. And I think that works a lot better than trying to communicate through email
Oh,
or
yeah.
through phone. And also, um, if they're like, I don't know if I want to commit, they're likely to not say no to my face. They'll say yes, I can intimidate them. So
But they might think it when you're leaving.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, I'm always nice. So yeah, so that's why so I will be in Pagosa Springs, Bayfield, and Durango, like I said. So and then Fort Collins is right down the road, and Denver also is right down the road. Um, and then I'll be actually going through Alamosa as well. So, but Alamosa is not that big of a place, so I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll get 16 homes there. I'm not sure.
So I think some characteristics to tabulate would be like how many people are there?
Okay,
Um,
like the
actually
city's
have,
population.
yeah, we actually have um data because of another project. So we would have data on how like average house size and age
Mm-hmm.
and income for, I think, some of these. So I could populate that. I would need to figure out like how to access it in the data. Like I have the data, but the way we're associating it is with a population group called a PUMA, PUMA. it's kind of like a census block, but it's a little bit, it's another demographic thing.
Gotcha.
So if I knew the Puma, I could pretty quickly get, housing characteristics for that.
Okay. And I'll share this with both of you.
Can we
To
just pop it in the Google Drive? We may need to make a new folder because the field study is gonna probably need its own.
Okay. Well, I can
Google.
share the link from this is just in my drive. So I can just share the link and then we can move it to whatever we
Okay,
want to create later.
okay. Yeah, so, um, there's one of the things that we will need to look at is the frequency of pollution events. And I think Christian has access to that information from the data scraping he's done. So population, like age of house and age and size of house, which I can get if I know the Puma code.
Okay.
And I have all that somewhere. I have the cross map. We probably want to add the Oregon ones to this.
Okay.
Like what I think is this should contain all of our possible candidates. And then we gradually whittle them down.
Gotcha.
So I know you and Paul had some communication. Come on in. Excuse me. Just come in. Don't worry. And I don't know if you've gotten details on those, or it was just probably just the conversation I saw that was like, oh yeah, there's some possibilities. But we should know those, we should have those on here. And so maybe the specific question, Will or Aaliyah, what do we need? Do we need to bother Paul to get his people in here or what?
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know the specific locations, just that just like the brief, like, hey, this will be the area that we might be working in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then he has the organizational contacts, is that right?
And that I do not know. I mean, I assume so.
So the email that I saw was something like, I talked to this guy and he said, oh, sure. So we need to have a little more specificity than that. So, I think, Will, when are you going there? You told me, but I just don't remember. Is it now, like next week?
I am going down, excuse me, I'm going down on the 19th. Well, I'm leaving on the 18th. I'll be there for a couple days next week or in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Won't be any time to do anything then, but I have to go back down the week after that to finish the observation. And just because it's so far away, we're doing some other stuff, some other requirements for the project. I'm just going to be staying in the area for like 2 weeks or a week and a half. So I'll be there from the 25th through the 4th of May.
Of May.
So, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like this month.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm going down. Like, I'll be there from. Sorry,
Oh,
the
25
20.
April before, I'm
Sorry.
sorry, my brain is not functioning on calendar like things.
Yeah. So yeah. So I'll be down there to finish up some stuff at the site. But the plan is for the 29th through the 3rd to be kind of going to making stops to Durango and to Bayfield and Pagosa Springs to install some equipment for them. So I'll already be doing pop-ins to these places um,
Hmm.
where I can kind of talk to them more about, what the idea is and kind of see what the potential is. And, I guess really what it's going to be down is, or come down to is hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we're looking for. Would you be willing to kind of ask something nice if they will participate in this? And then we can maybe
Mhm.
put together like some kind of sign up sheet or some kind of contact information to kind of pull together to see what we can do. And that's why I think
Yeah,
maybe it's like, oh, we only have like 3 people, or maybe it's like, oh yeah, we have like 25 people who want to participate, you know.
yeah.
And I think these locations meet at least like the demographics as far as home
Mhm,
sizes and things
mhm.
like that.
So maybe one of the, yeah, it sounds like an information sheet could be pretty good, and we, we put a bunch of stuff together for Epic, but I think where we're at with that is we're not ready to do the whole spiel about like, here's what you can expect when we're in your home. Because I think it's a good, the Epic Homes and stuff is a good start, but we also want them to engage with the interface, right? So we're totally not ready there. But like a one pager on what we're looking for.
Kind of
um,
like, do you want to learn more type thing?
Well, so I'm not sure that we're ready. I'm not sure we're ready to seek residents right now.
Okay.
I think we're still in the phase of, the first thing we should do is identify whether a location is viable. Would it have enough homes? Does it have pollution events? And does it have the right type of homes and residents? And so it's not too early to socialize the ideas and have the groups knowing that this might be coming. And so communication might look like, we're gonna want 16 homes. And we're not looking for onesies, twosies, right? Whatever we say about how close they must be together, I do not want like 16 homes all over southwestern Colorado. It's just gonna be miserable, right? And by all over, I mean like, the whole like southwestern corner, like quarter of Colorado, that would just be awful.
Especially in
And
the wintertime.
yeah, that, and
At
that,
least for travel, I mean, like travel to get over the pass is kind of it's rough during that time of year.
that is a good point. So we don't want,
I mean, I would say logistically, if the plan is to kind of have somebody hunker down in the area for a period of time, you really just a commute like there and then a commute to get back. So that's probably not the worst thing. And you could kind of plan around that, I guess.
Mhm.
But if it was something like, oh yeah, we'd have to go down, once a week or once every 2 weeks, that would probably suck.
Yeah, yeah, I think that'll be another conversation, but just thinking about how some of those mountain villages are, right? Like, we
Mhm.
don't want to, like, two up in this other little, like two in Ward and two in Nederland would be, even that could become impassable.
Yeah.
I wish
Well,
we were doing mobile homes, because I just go do a mobile home park, but we're not.
well, yeah. Do they really have a lot of those in Colorado?
Well, we've got a bunch of them in Fort Collins.
Really? I guess I never see them on my commute to work.
Well, yeah, you're missing a lot, Will. Yeah, there's what, 5 or 6 mobile home parks in Fort Collins?
Yeah, there's
Oh, wow.
at least 6, I think. And also around the ski areas, there are quite a few, and it's a lot of the workers who work temporarily just for the ski season. Might live in
See,
places like
I
that too.
totally wish we were doing mobile homes, because I would totally go do those ski areas.
Mhm.
But we are
Actually,
not, because the technology is, um, needs central air in a way that mobile homes don't have. The
yeah.
early version of it right now.
Now that you mention it, I do recall now seeing every time I go to Grand Junction, like driving through Vale. It's like once you get on the western side of Vale, it's like, oh wow. And I think if I lived in Vale, it'd be the only place I could afford. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, where were we? Oh, we were talking about the difficulty. So one of the things we want to communicate to people is like, do you have a large number of people who would be interested?
Yeah,
They are gonna receive compensation. I feel like we're never paying enough for the trouble it is. Um, but it's like, there's some rules about how you can't pay too much.
Yeah.
I wanna pay them more, right? I think they should make like $1,000 or something, but because it's just such a pain, but, yeah, but we're not allowed to pay that much because then they feel like they can't refuse. There's some ethical thing around that. Oh, that's another thing. We need to start the IRB on this. But we need Erica's thing in order to do, okay, so do you have a large number of houses? Will be the main question, I think, Will. What do you think your organizations would want to know from us? Like, what could we tell them so that what would be considerations in them making a decision to participate?
You said a large number of houses. What else did you say?
Well, we want certain demographics, both of, or people and houses, but I think we can make a call on that separately from the
Yeah.
organizations, although we want to mention to them that, we prefer to have their clients' houses rather than the CEO's house, probably.
Yeah, right, yeah. So
And then the pollution events are not on them. That's a call that we're gonna make.
yes, okay. So based on this list, at least we have for Colorado and the locations that we know that I'll be going to or could go to in the next, well, not next week, but this week and the week after. Since I'm not leaving until the 18th. April 18th is when I'm leaving to go to Durango, or actually I'm going to Cortez. Um, which I'm actually going to the library there, so that could be another one. But I think what we want to do is if we have time between now and when I leave on the 25th or the 24th, the 25th, is can we come up with some questions that I could pitch to these locations that I'll be in? Um, um, I guess kind of saying, hey, is there like a large number of houses? I guess kind of trying to think off the top of my head, it's like, do we have time to come up with like a thing or like a little script for me to say to the locations to kind of get them to help us recruit homes for this, I guess. And then so some questions that I would need to, or some things I would need to say to them, and some questions we'd want them to ask
Mhm.
possible participants, if
Mhm.
that makes sense. Sorry.
Yeah, so Aaliyah, is that a thing you could try to draft?
Absolutely. I have a couple ideas around that already.
Cool. Yeah, and then we can nudge it.
One question I have is if there's any way to have, I don't know if it's needed right at this juncture, but sooner rather than later, just a landing page vaguely explaining what it is to build a little bit of trust and so people can look at something.
So
website.
for the particular, because we have the Sapphires page, it's
right.
it's not
not-
that specific. So
Mhm.
what would you add there?
Could be a single page, landing page that's just on a QR code or something on a handout, or
Mm.
something that people can refer back to, because I assume a lot of these organizations are doing 50,000 things to help their communities, so they may not even remember the details of this conversation with Will. So what can we provide even at an early stage that's a very surface level overview, reminding them
That's a
who
good
we
idea.
are.
In fact, why don't we develop the seeking one pager, but then turn it into a web page?
Mhm.
Like we're seeking one community for this study. Is that the kind of thing you're thinking? And
Mhm.
here's what
Yeah.
we're looking for?
Yeah, and just a little bit about what it is, the project.
Yeah, okay.
And it could live on the Sapphire's website, just as a separate page on it or something. We
Yeah.
can make it look nice.
Yeah, I haven't updated that in a while anyway. Cause we're just like, what do you say? We're under a mountain of Epic Homes data. We're trying to get out.
Yeah, I can definitely start pooling some of that, and then we can flesh out the details as needed, and I could build it for us if we wanted that.
Yeah, but it's a great idea to have something that is a little more constant.
That's true, because they would probably definitely forget when I pitch them.
Yep.
I think the good thing is the fact that they're like, oh, we already have like a level of credibility as, you know, being CSU, being familiar with what we're doing. So this is still, I would say adjacent to what we were doing, what they were
Right.
doing, the project. So, you know, I don't toot my horn too much, but I feel like I did a good enough job with them. So like, oh, okay, this is the level of what we can expect if we recruit people to like possibly work on this. So we go,
Mhm.
oh, what is it like working? They're like, oh, it's working. You know, Will's the best. So I don't know if they would say that, but you know, it's
Yeah,
Right.
that's super helpful.
That's great. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think the same with Paul's connections. They're people he already knows, right? We're not cold calling people going, we have this crazy idea about your home. Let us come experiment on you.
let me talk to you about your car's extended warranty.
Yeah, I think we could definitely build on so much of that, and just having something that's a little reminder, especially for recruiting, is likely helpful.
Okay, so I think there's a few action items here. One is getting some of these things filled out. So I can. Will, would you be able to look for the Puma code for each of these locations? Because then I can pull the data. I can probably do it too, but it'll take me a while to get started on it.
Um, what is it you said?
It's probably a Google thing.
You said PIMA code?
Uh-huh. Let me. So, okay, public use microdata areas. Um, zip code tabulation areas. Oh, God. We just want to get some demographic information.
Oh, okay.
Here, which I can most easily do by having the Puma code.
Okay.
And I'm trying to find, it's on the census data page. Samples, reference, okay, oh, here it is, names, files, use the 2020. Yeah, okay.
Is that the same as is that similar to the EJST, the environmental justice tool?
Ah, what does the environmental justice tool use?
I can't remember, but I was using that to find some information for one of Ellison's proposals that I am hoping to be a part of. And I was looking at it to find like schools and areas that, you know, meet the um as being like vulnerable.
Yeah,
Um,
but how are they broken down? I know they have these, but are they sent? So some other things that you might hear are census block and census tract.
yeah, because it definitely had that stuff in that tool.
Right, but so everybody has their, maybe not their own, but there's there's the administrative boundaries like counties. There's
Mhm.
the census boundaries, and then Pumas were made to be sort of equal population in each one. Whereas
Okay.
census blocks and tracts are sort of by size or group. Yeah, so if you can just associate, like, I just don't have the bandwidth to look through that document and associate something with each area. Cause then I can pop in like, how many homes of certain age? And how many central air, or what fraction of central air? Cause that's all stuff that I can access, I just don't know how to match these locations.
Okay, so I can, but I can do that with the link you shared in the chat then.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, I can work on that this week. I might do it tomorrow.
yeah,
Uh,
believe me,
but
I'm
yeah.
not gonna fix this anytime soon, so you're fine. Well, whenever you can do it. And then the other thing is when we have, um, so we need to get Paul to put his candidates in here. Or would that be easiest for you, Will?
Yeah, I can share it with Paul as well. I mean, I'll just share it to, I can share with Paul, Visa, whoever else, and
Yeah,
then
go ahead and do that, and then we
if
should have a
somebody
link.
else is not on it, the two of you feel free to forward it to whoever else might need it. If it's like Erica or something like that. So, it will soon live in a location that everybody will have access to. But for now, we can share it with whoever needs to be, whoever we want to have access to it.
Yeah, okay. Okay, and then we separately, we should also contact Christian and ask him what he can tell us about whether he has prior air quality data on these locations.
Okay.
I'm gonna see him later today, so I can just ask him what's the best way to do that. And then Aaliyah's gonna start like a communication document that will eventually become a web page.
Correct.
Like bring it back to us so we can
Yeah.
comment and critique.
Excellent.
Will this be something that I'll have a hard copy to drop off in 2 weeks or 3 weeks?
I think we can do that.
Goal.
Mhm.
Okay.
The last action item I did write down, but I don't know what all is needed for it, is the IRB situation.
Oh, that is not a soon action item and it can't be done now. So the IRB is the Institutional Review Board that allows you to do experiments that may affect humans. Most of the work that we do gets classified as exempt because we're not actually drawing blood from humans, or we're getting their opinions, but it's like opinions light because they're not really like troublesome or deep or cause anxiety. But we do need to submit it. But in order to submit it, we have to say exactly what we're going to do, and we don't know exactly what we're going to do. So, and we did have a review for the Epic homes, so some of the measurements will be the same, but there's a behavioral component being done by Erica Miller that we haven't identified yet and won't be able to describe.
Yeah, that's what I wasn't understanding. Erica's part of that.
Yeah, so that's more like, we better start that really soon.
I have it as a long-term to do. I know what it takes with those, so.
Have you
Great.
done that before?
Yes, because all of my research is always causing harm in the emotional sense, apparently.
Is it?
Yeah. Violence prevention in schools is a dicey topic that I went
Oh
through.
my gosh, yeah, that's, is it children?
Children, so
We're like,
particular.
no children, no children.
Yes, it's super hard. School systems are super hard. So
Oh
yes,
my
I used to do all of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, we have a decently friendly board here.
Wonderful.
So but it does typically take some back and forth and resubmission.
Definitely. Great. I have it just on our general to-dos that I'm tracking.
Okay. Awesome. I think that's it. So, Will, let's try to schedule a meeting before you leave, when a lot of this stuff should have been moved forward. And so you can say whether you're satisfied with the materials that we provide, which shouldn't be very complicated. Does that sound
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
We're leaving, was it the 25th or the 19th or something like that?
25th for actual final departure, but you're doing a pre-visit with something else, right, on the 19th?
Yeah,
Bill?
so I'm leaving the 18th. I'll just be out of town for 3 days.
Mhm.
So I'll still have like the 15th through the 17th if we want to meet. If we need to meet virtually, I can also meet while I'm gone from the hotel, but and then I won't be leaving to actually do this work. I would be leaving on the 25th.
Okay, so I'm looking at the 16th. I like getting back together
Okay,
before all that stuff hits, so if we need to adjust things, we have time.
perfect.
So it looks like 2 p.m. Can you do 2 p.m. on the 16th?
I think so. I don't think anybody's claimed my time yet, so you are first in line.
Good, okay, because I have a secret meeting that I haven't put on the calendar yet. Um, all right, in the morning. Okay, so doing that, okay. Okay, I'm getting that. Okay. Good, thanks, and we'll try to be ready.
We can do it. We had a good team.
Speak for yourself. Have you seen my calendar?
Well, that's why you have other people. You don't do it
I
on your own.
know, that's why I didn't talk to you till Aaliyah came on board. I'm like, I can't deal. I make promise, no promise is kept. We'll chip away at it. Good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.